New developments this hour after an Amtrak train carrying members of Congress plows into a garbage truck stopped on the tracks. We'll hear from North State Congressman Doug LaMalfa, who was on board.
And the Shasta County DA handing down charges this afternoon to a woman who allegedly drove the wrong way on I-5, killing a young father of 2 children. We'll explain the murder charges she now faces. This is KRCR News Channel 7 at 5:30.
You're watching KRCR News Channel 7 at 5:30. Get the facts right.
We're learning new details of the chaotic moments after an Amtrak passenger train carrying members of Congress slammed into a garbage truck. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Allison Woods.
And I'm Brent Weber. 1 person is dead, 6 others injured in this wreck. The collision happened in Crozet, Virginia, just outside of Charlottesville. Train blasted into the garbage truck at about 50 miles an hour, according to lawmakers. A metal container from the truck's bed was flung onto its side next to the train. Debris strewn throughout the area alongside the tracks. Several legislators with medical training helped the injured and performed CPR.
With Brad Winstrip there, it was all too reminiscent of the Scully's incident where 2 of us were there as Brad was cutting away the jacket so they could attach some of the life-saving equipment. It was, my mind went back to the same thing.
The train was taking members of the GOP to their legislative retreat in West Virginia. Among those on board, Speaker Paul Ryan, who tweeted, "We are grateful for the first responders who rushed to the scene, and we pray for the victims and their families. May they all be in our thoughts right now." As the National Transportation Safety Board investigates the deadly crash, the legislators boarded buses and continued on to their conference.
North State Congressman Doug LaMalfa was on that train during the accident. He spoke to KRCR News Channel 7's Jeremy Linder about what he saw and felt. And Jeremy joins us now with more. Jeremy.
Well, Allison, Congressman LaMalfa says he's okay, but it was an immediate shock this morning. The group of lawmakers were less than halfway to their final destination when the train hit that garbage truck. LaMalfa was sitting in his seat reading at the time. When the train hit, he lurched forward and his knees hit the seat in front of him. He says he could not see the impact because he was on the opposite side of the train, but once they stopped, it was obvious that the train hit the vehicle with all the dust that was flying around in the air. While it did not dampen the first day, LaMalfa believed the collision was an accident and that annual treat would continue as planned.
This is life, man. You know, it's random, and you have to be resilient in what we're doing. And so we wouldn't want this for anybody. You have to rebound from and deal with the circumstances that are in front of you.
After the accident, another train pulled them back to Charlottesville, where they waited for those buses to finish that trip to West Virginia. The retreat is their annual planning session with Republican lawmakers. While there, LaMalfa plans to meet with a subgroup of the Ag Committee that's working on a farm bill for this year. Jeremy Linder, KRCR News Channel 7.
Thank you, Jeremy. 2 people are dead after a gasoline tanker exploded in a head-on crash in Placer County. Happened just after 10 a.m. where Highway 20 meets Highway 80. The Highway Patrol says a semi hauling a gasoline tanker was heading south on Highway 20 when a tow truck crossed the center divide. CAL FIRE confirmed that both drivers involved in the collision have died. Caltrans has closed Highway 20 in that area for the rest of the day.
At least 1 person was burned in a garage fire this afternoon in Chico. It happened just after 1:30 on the 1000 block of Pomona Avenue. Upon arrivals, crews found a detached garage almost fully involved in flames with exploding sounds coming from the building. The fire was knocked down quickly. It did not extend to nearby homes, and the cause remains under investigation. Well, this is a live look at Redding from our Mercy Medical Center Skycam. First Alert meteorologist Rob Elvington is here. What can we expect tonight, Rob?
You know, similar conditions that we've seen over the last couple of days. We've got these passing clouds moving in from out of the west and northwest. Unfortunately, just not a lot of precipitation. Even this activity that you're seeing on the radar off to the west and northwest, most of this is what we call virga, maybe a few sprinkles for far western parts of Siskiyou County and into the north coast. But that's about it. The rest of the North State will remain dry with these passing passing clouds through the rest of tonight. So we're wrapping up the month of January, and for most of the North State, we're actually finishing with a deficit. We did see some rain and snow this month, but for places like Reading, finishing about an inch below normal for the month of January. And if you go all the way back to October the 1st, that's the start of the water year, you'll notice the entire state is in a deficit. And where you see these reds in western parts of Shasta County, that's indicating 12 to 18 inches below normal, again, for the water year. Reading right now for the water year, so again, going back to October the 1st, we're at 8.29 inches for a deficit. But some good news, the reservoir is still in some pretty good shape. So look at Shasta at 109% of normal for the state, and that's because of last wet season, still coasting off of that. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Rob. New developments tonight about the Red Bluff woman who's been charged with second-degree murder after allegedly driving under the influence the wrong way on I-5 earlier this month. Shasta County's district attorney confirming she was, in his opinion, trying to take her own life. Highway Patrol says Grace Ward was arrested for murder and other charges after the crash on Interstate 5 near Knighton Road on January 7th. The CHP says the 28-year-old was driving northbound on I-5 when she crossed the center divide. She struck a Honda Accord head-on, killing the driver of that vehicle, 29-year-old Ryan Folsom. Folsom leaves behind 2 sons and a wife who is expecting a new baby. KRCR News Channel 7's Trevor Fay was at the Shasta County District Attorney's office today, where prosecutors explained why they filed second-degree murder charges against Grace Ward. He joins us now here in the studio. Good evening, Trevor.
Good evening, Brent. The difference between first and second-degree murder is all about planning. The Shasta County District Attorney says while Grace Ward was trying to kill herself when she drove onto oncoming traffic, she didn't plan to kill Ryan Folsom. In total, Ward was charged with 1 count of murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, and 1 count of felony vandalism. Ward broke her leg in the January 7th crash and avoided jail until yesterday because she was recuperating at Mercy Medical Center. Shasta County District Attorney Stephanie Bridget stressed today that Ward was not a victim in this crash.
Ward made a choice that day to use her vehicle to try to kill herself. Her choice was very selfish, and the method she used has been determined to be criminal.
Bridget said Ward tried to crash into 3 cars, each of which were able to avoid her before she hit Folsom's vehicle. Folsom, who was staying in Medford, was on his way to Sacramento for a series of job interviews in an effort to become a doctor. A GoFundMe for the Folsom family was set up by Ian Cropper, a close family friend. The page went viral almost immediately and ultimately raised over $300,000 for Folsom's widow and 3 children. Trevor Fay, KRCR, News Channel 7.
Thank you, Trevor. A traffic stop by Butte County Sheriff's deputies led them to a big drug bust at his home. Deputies pulled over 28-year-old Stephen Green in the Chapmantown area of Chico, where they found cocaine in his possession. Deputies then served a search warrant of Green's home and found 78 grams of cocaine, 262 pounds of marijuana, and more than $2,000. Prior to the search of his home, Green was cited and released from jail, and then following the search, deputies arrested him again and put him back in jail on multiple charges. He's being held on a $500,000 bail.
We know this all too well. Fires can happen in any community at any time.
And in Butte County, fire crews have a new tool to help. We'll show you why this newly designed fire truck is better equipped to take on the streets of paradise.
This past year's series of wildfires adding up to the most expensive insurance claims our state has ever seen. We'll tell you about that growing number coming up on KRCR News Channel 7 at 5:30.